agenda has been approved with the aforementioned adjustments. Item 4, student achievement, Mr. Ron Cantley.
Where would it serve the media from this?
If you want right over here, I think he could turn the camera a little bit.
That's my purpose right there.
He can't turn the camera a little bit.
We can. There we go. You're good right there. Is it good right here? Well, I guess from the agenda, everybody knows my name, Ron Cantley. It's got to meet everybody this far out. It's got to meet you. It's nice to meet you.
You got to meet her better half, though.
Oh, really? Right behind. Oh, okay.
Oh, sorry.
Better half.
Joey, I need that 20 later.
That sticks right there. It's good to be with you. In an effort to discipline my rambling, I've got a pretty tight script I'm going to get to here just in a minute, but before I begin, I want to say thank you for the opportunity to serve you. Since I'm a teacher at heart, I'm more of an employee of a couple, actually 3 specific teaching strategies, and one of them is just some directive updating. Now, when I get finished, I'll leave this with Mr. Warble, and he can copy and distribute as you deem appropriate. So that's one thing I'm going to suggest you do. Like all students, that'll be up to you whether or not you participate in that, but I hope it serves you. And then secondly, I might do an occasional check for understanding as we go along, particularly as it relates to the notes I want you to take.
Pop quiz.
And there will not be a test that we're going to think about maybe our collective performance as we think about certain students, these are tests. Then I've got a little follow-up. But I am predominantly a retired educator. I've worked mainly in Raleigh, Fayette County. I do want to thank you. It's been a great opportunity for me to serve the students, the staff, and the community here. I've really enjoyed that. So to this point, I've been at Sumner County High School with Jumping Branch Elementary School multiple times. I've also been in the community meeting at Forest Hill. That's where we got to meet with that. Leadership meeting at the board office, and one board meeting at the high school. I started way back in April 24th. I've made 19 visits to Summers County. I didn't realize that. It's quite a lot. Fortune and Providence have also given me the opportunity to just meet people in the community and talk to them. And when that happens, I take the opportunity to steer the conversation, the education. And you can learn a lot about that. And that's something that served me well. But all those interactions have resulted in either verbal or written communication to school staff regarding my thoughts on those exchanges and observations. And I want to be clear on one thing. This is the first note I want to invite you to take. The message I want to give you is predominantly a positive message of affirmation. Positive message of affirmation. I want to be very clear on that first note. I think that's, in my professional opinion, that's very much needed. And I'm going to explain why I want to do that as we go along. Now, I'll almost exclusively base this observation or this information of affirmation on being in your schools. I've been in 2 of them. Dr. Green down there at his school at Summers County High School, and Miss Newsom here at Jumping Branch. And I find myself equally yoked with the written, taught, model, and most importantly, operationalized mission of these 2 schools. I see them, and this is the second note, meet student needs first, meeting student needs first. I see that in those 2 schools in the time that I've been in there. I see them meeting student needs. And another part of that note is that there are 3 student needs that are going to form the background and backbone, I would say, of what I want to communicate to you tonight. And it's what those student needs are, and these are in order of priority in my judgment. The first one is safety and supervision. That's, of course, both emotional and physical. The second one is the cognitive needs of those students. And the third one is their affective needs. So safety, supervision, cognitive needs, affective needs. And that's how I structure my work with that as priority. I used to flip-flop cognitive and affective, but one of the things that I found is that if you built somebody's self-esteem and they didn't have any cognitive capacity, that self-esteem was not sustainable because it wouldn't be good for anything. And in a world where somebody wants to employ you for something, if you're good for nothing, you can't really have good self-esteem, I wouldn't think. But I'll start with safety and supervision. And at both of these schools, I observe staff almost exclusively being in the right place at the right time every time. And that probably is the main, most important fundamental. Lunch duty, eating duty, always during class change, evidence of implementation of PBI strategies, being teaching specific behaviors for specific locations and activities is the norm. That's very important. When we've observed the rare instance of marginal or unsatisfactory performance, I see administrative awareness and a professionally sound response. Not a reactive, a professionally sound response. And this is the next note that I'm going to humbly and respectfully coach you on. I have no idea where you stand on this or how it's been. This is just an observation that I give to any board. Be sure to support that professional administrative response. You're quantifying that issue by issue, item by item, incident by incident. This gentleman here will probably help you with that a little bit. He'll have thoughts as well. Incident by incident, that's his job. But if they're supported in these professional administrative responses, I predict and have seen that atypical staff member responding to coaching, correction, and direction. That's important for a principal. Coach, teach, direct, lead, model, etc. with your staff. And the environments of these two schools, based on my observations, are ones that are conducive to learning and produce fertile soil for the seeds of learning to take root and growth. I'm not going to say that. But, somebody asked me why is safety and supervision number one at the end of any day. If everybody can go home emotionally, physically intact, whatever the problem was, we can work. Right. And I see that in these two schools. I'm also pleased to report that the cognitive needs of our Bobcats and Tigers are being met. That's the next note. Cognitive needs of our Bobcats and Tigers are being met. I've been permitted to interact with school and county staff. That's your name, Dr. Not Dr. Don. And many of your other people that work with Ms. Schaefer, high school, they're just very, very impressive people. I've talked to them with specificity regarding their plans on what to teach, how to teach it, how to respond. Both formative and summative assessment. Formative is as you go, summative, end of the year, end of the year assessment. And so they're not only have a plan in place to deliver, but they have a plan in place to respond to assessment. I see staff seeking to align the taught curriculum with the assessed curriculum. Observation shows a focus on time on task, best practice, technically sound instruction. Rather than speaking educational jargon, I thought I might just give you a few selected notes from some of the observations up there. They are, what's that? No, these are more comments. I don't know if Forster or not that. But I'll just give you some, I highlighted some things that are just exciting to see. Active questioning. The students might have been minimally disengaged. Are you paying attention to that? I like to take a snapshot of engagement when I come into a room. 21 for 21, 100% engaged upon arrival. Independent, task-centered dialogue evident between students. And a lot of times I'm seeing that. Now think about that. I'm the teacher. I'm not doing anything. I'm just sitting there. And all around my room, I'll have groups of students engaged in task-centered dialogue. I don't have any idea what specifically they're doing. I just know they're working to a prescribed goal that I've set. That's powerful. That's powerful instruction. Posted learning targets, posted daily agenda entry, posted essential questions. This was the essential question. How can we write a function for the volume of the box? I'm not sure I know what that means, but Posted folder of previous assignments. A student independently got up to access the files. In other words, the teacher's got it. You know, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, kid rolls in. Teacher. No, we have a proactive procedure in place. This is some dialogue. I like to write dialogue. Is there anything wrong with a mistake? No. It's valuable to see somebody do the same thing you probably did. Now, this was cool. Think about this. Close your eyes and think for 30 seconds before you solve the problem. I will start a timer. When was the last time you calmed down and had a calm, quiet 30 seconds? Thinking about something that's specific. This is in a special needs class. I hope I pronounced this right. Somebody who's probably smarter than me can tell me if I'm getting this right. The cask of Amontillado, the cask of Amontillado went to ground in a special needs ELA class. What does it mean to be a connoisseur? And of course, the gentleman was talking about me being a connoisseur of wine, and this young man said, it means he was an alcoholic. And the teacher said, that's where I was going with it. But one of the things I like to do is chart your dialogue. And it'll prevent people from doing what I'm doing now in Vernon. You'll chart your dialogue, teach your dialogue, pupil dialogue. You'll write down whether it was a question or not, was it complex or was it simple? And I see a focus on complex task-centered dialogue. Students transition to Chromebooks and I excel promptly and smoothly. No disruptions noted 10:02 to 10:11 and beyond. I could go on and on. Like most people in education don't do, but it's just exciting stuff that was going on. Those were some high school notes. Elementary, same type of things. Direct question. What do you think, Marlon? What should it be, Nico? Looking at kids, and a lot of times they would look at kids, as I said, that would appear not to be engaged. And the dialogue was impressive, man. They have a rule called the by-3 roll. It's artificial, but it's still a good exercise to see if you can do it. Just try not to go past 3 teacher statements before you elicit a student response that complements engagement. A lot of us were doing that naturally. I saw evidence of foundations, one of the required curriculum. Saw that happen in more than one occasion. Grade 3, think about this question. How do we know? Outstanding. Independent, task-centered dialogue between pairs of students appeared to be the norm and not the exception. This was not imposed, but facilitated. Talk about PBIS and proactivity. This was in pre-K. Stand up on your spot, please. Now think about that for a minute. What that means is there was previous instruction where everybody has a spot, they've been taught where their spot is, they know what to do. And instead of having a chaotic transition, it's facilitated transition. And as I said, I can go on and on. I'll close with this one. They were doing a brain break. You probably won't tell this one, but I have to. They were doing a brain break, and they had this little video that people were singing, and it was kind of just a break. Get moving and dancing and jumping around to the video. And there's a part of this video where people eating, it's a kid's video, okay? So this does not make a lot of sense out of context, but people in the video start to work because they've been eating a lot of vegetables. And 2 or 3 of them walk off camera and say, oh, excuse me. And a young lady in front of me said, they had to go fart. Yeah, it's still a lot of fun, isn't it? It's still a lot of fun. And I say those things. There is a method to my madness. And I'll get to that when I get to affect, okay? Of why things like that are true. But that was cognitive needs. Cognitive needs were being met, in my opinion. Lastly, I've seen investment in students' affective needs, and that's the note, affective needs are being met, in my opinion. Counselors, community and school specialists, an on-site pro officer, et cetera. That's what we call, I don't know what do y'all call it, gentlemen, Summers County High.
Resources.
SRO,
Yeah.
okay. But all of that reflects deep intentionality, starting at the bottom. This is an educational word, but well, it's not, it's a psychological word, at the bottom of Maslow's hierarchy. Physiological needs, safety, security, love and belonging, esteem, before we even get to cognitive. There's intentionality in relationship to Maslow's hierarchy in Summers County schools that I'm in. This was also reflected in the board report we were all privileged to hear, where people were talking about that. We were talking about some serious things, some heartbreaking behavior. Have we done all we can do? Are we doing the right things? Don't be questions to ask, but depending on how you respond, your response can be unhealthy. Depending on how much blame you take on yourself. Most importantly, and this gets to what I think related to the cognitive needs. My observations do not reveal any deep resentments between staff and students. We used to call that a toxic environment. In fact, based on observed student cooperation and compliance, particularly, both schools, but I love watching, you can learn a lot of it at a high school or middle school lunch. People seem to predominantly like and trust each other in the two schools that I've been in. This is, in my judgment, perhaps the most important thing we can do to help keep one another emotionally and physically safe in school. We all know that frustrated people, not students, frustrated people, all of us, don't tend to retaliate. And this retaliation often takes place in the form of what some call the 4 R's: rage, resentment, resistance, and rebellion. And that's what a toxic environment generates, and it's an unsafe and unproductive environment. I like the affective environment of the schools and at the board office leadership meeting and at the community meeting I was able to. I see predominantly good people trying to do good things, and it's an enjoyable group with which to associate because we're equally yoked. I'm in harmony with meeting student needs first, focusing on safety and supervision first, cognitive second, affective third, and I see people that do that. Now, I know Summers County has some problems in terms of student achievement, and that's the next note. We're aware we have achievement problems. I get that. That's real. But I also know you do not operate in a vacuum of being impacted by poverty, unemployment, addiction, social dysfunction, and reduced engagement with traditional faith-based guidance in the community. And there is a correlation between positive life outcomes and traditional faith-based outcomes, engagement with. And this is the next note that, and you may already be doing this. Again, I like coming into these environments. It's pleasurable. It's not one that makes me nervous, apprehensive, or uncomfortable. So maybe you're already doing this, but I hope if you're not doing it, I hope you'll be sure to give each other a break. Just give each other a break. It's a lot of pressure because you suffer the righteous heartache of looking at your children's needs and seek to make things better. And if you have any kind of conscience at all, especially in a place where you've lived your whole life, you'll see what is, know what can be, know what's causing the problem, and break your heart. You'll see that. If we're not careful, you and I have never been that person that's frustrated, starts to retaliate out of rage, resentment, resistance, and rebellion. Now, I've done all kinds of observations and technical suggestions that we put down in writing. I've given to both principals, and I'd like to think I could compete with anybody, at least moderately so, in the technical aspects of education. And we are doing it. I want to assure you this is not just a touchy-feely thing. But I really wanted to emphasize that. I'm observing all elements of the school system from the State Department down, working to develop a sound professional response to the measured needs of the students. complicated way of saying, gosh, it seems like everybody's trying hard. You will know the rare bad actor in this chain of command and deal with them individually. It's going to be a rare person in my limited experience. As for the rest, my advice is to keep chopping wood, keep trying, keep talking with one another, and do not be discouraged. And here's the next two notes that are very important. I'm sure you are making things better for the children of Summers County right now. Probably doing that on the bus. You're making things better for the children of Summers County right now. And you can get caught up in a lot of things. And maybe that's one of the things that I could do to start to bless you is to be that outside observer that's been in a lot of education environments and say, do you guys know that this is pretty good stuff that you're helping these kids in relationship to the 3 student needs? And this is my next note. Do not ever doubt it. You hear me? Do not doubt it. What's happening in the 2 schools that I am in, have been in is making things better for these children. And I just got through reading all the things we're competing with. And I don't want to have an imposed low ceiling where you look at a kid, oh, you know, you're called poor baby syndrome, is what I used to call it. So, oh, poor baby. Oh, poor baby. That's the best you can do, God bless you. No, I'm not saying that. But it's also important to know not beat yourself up. And I don't think that's the intent of the State Department when they come in, based on what I'm seeing and reading. I don't think that's your intent to come and beat people up. They want to make things better too. As I said, I've given written and technical suggestions regarding procedures and strategies, etc. But these are 2 notes that are important to you as board members. Well, I think important to all of us that are trying. Our strategies, and this is the note, are not a guarantee of a positive educational result. It's not a guarantee of a positive educational result. This is what it is. You are developing and implementing professionally designed best practice plans that are designed to produce a positive educational result. We talk about formative assessment leading to summative assessment. So we'll do that formative assessment. We'll see what kids don't know, and what we want them to know. We'll adjust instruction. Will we get where we want to go? Well, we hope so. We're intending to, because we have a professionally developed plan designed to produce a positive educational result. And I see that. No guarantees, but we respond to the day. I had football coaches that I evaluated that were over 10, and they were exemplary. I had some that were big winners that had problems having improvement plans, because we were educators. It wasn't Alabama or Green Bay. We were educators responding to the needs of our children. Now, in a righteous effort to make things better, I advise caution for them. It's not just the board, it's for all of us. It's how we reach down into the chain of command. I have to be careful. Ms. Susan asked me, she said, well, do you want to follow up with the teachers? I said, no. I do not want to follow up with the teachers. I want to speak to your teachers through you. I said that to you. We haven't actually talked about it. I think I said that in the past. It's not my place. I'd be disrupting the chain of command. So all of us want to be careful if we reach down into the chain of command. Even if I feel like I've got a righteous intent or a good plan, I'm not the principal of Jumping Grapes Elementary School. So there's a difference between good intentions and the actual ability to facilitate a positive educational result. There's a difference between a big heart and a big brain. Good to have a big heart. It's good to have good intentions, but you want a big brain, you want capacity, you want the ability to facilitate a positive educational result. And that'll be empowering. I want to encourage you to empower those that lead the system and allow those who are constitutionally and legally authorized to operate to do so. And I have to be careful in what I say to the teachers. custodians, bus drivers, whatever it may be, you have to be careful. In my career, I was privileged to work directly for 2 years. It was outside of education. I was very involved in action. And I was just blessed. I had a board that I did. It was a big one too. It was like a 9 or 10 minutes. I thought, ooh, I'm gonna get this through all my mission. But I consistently found the person to be on mission, empowering, coaching me, teaching me, leading me, inspiring me. They had great access, great skills. It was a blessing to me, and I think it helped the organization. And this is the last one. I see we're just making a good question. But you seem to have those same aspirations. I watch you operate. Oh, okay. Two occasions. See that. So I see you have the same type of aspirations. I read an old book one time, maybe you're familiar with it, that said not many of us should aspire to be teachers. You will be held to a higher standard. When I became a principal and later a director, it occurred to me that the standard might even be higher still for me because I'm a leading teacher. Your expectations are higher still as you lead teacher leaders, as well as people across the system, community. And it's really kind of intimidating if you think about it deeply, isn't it? And this is the last note. Thank you for willingly answering that higher call. I admire that. So we have 3 strategies: note taking, discipline, fashion, lecture. And there's nothing that requires any precise or specific follow-up. Like I said, I'd be happy to answer any questions you have if you think it's appropriate and helpful to do it at this time. But I want to encourage you to take what Mr. Moore gives you, take a calm few minutes to think about it. I think Dr. Green was the first person I told to. I said, Dr. Green, I said, I'll tell you things, and I believe they're all true. I've been humble enough to know if I tell you 10 things, one of them is really bad. So be sure to offer these things up. That's what it's up to. You have to answer for what I don't.
So do you say the bad things first or the good things first?
Say that again?
You say the bad things first or the good things?
Well, I mean, I think they're all good. I've had times where, you call the play or implement the strategy. It's like, ooh, that didn't work too good. That's just the nature of the human condition.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
One thing I like working with Ron is he does not tell me anything of value to it all, either working with the 2 principals or the staff. He just speaks in generalities, and I'll give you a quick one. He said, I walked through 15 classrooms the other day, and I can say 14 out of 15 were really good. Did I ask you who the one that was bad?
No.
I didn't, because I don't think that's how you do it. I feel he'll have a conversation, and I don't know which building it was, because he works with both of you. It could have been a combination, but my point is, I know you don't, but I'm saying, I get that joke, I get that you don't have 15, but he could have added both for protection. But my point is that's why I didn't dial down to a school and I didn't dial down to a classroom, because our job is to make people better at their craft, not shame, name, and blame them, beat them down. Having said that, I have not done any follow-up because professionally, he can have that conversation with one of those 2, whatever building it's in, because he didn't say the building. He just said, I went to 15 rooms, and I thought, I like that, because I don't know, because you're right, I agree with you, Ms. Newsom. It's easier to find out who it is in this building quicker than Dr. Green's building, we'll just put it that way. But he did not name the building, he just said, I was in 15 classrooms today, and I didn't ask specifics of them, because I don't think that's fair to all of us if we evaluate people like that, because what if that person just had a bad day? You never know what cross they were bearing that day, and you try to work with them. And the other thing is, maybe they thought they had a good day and they're totally off base too, and you just don't know. And that's why going in and having that professional conversation with people to see how it's going. So
You popped one other thing into my head that I told my friends in Raleigh County. I'm involved with a charity thing where we're provide service to, all the schools in all county. And General Rancho English, by the way, I told him he had this. And I get it, but my point is, I said, what are you doing there? Where are you at? And one of the things I tell them is, man, I just got through doing 15 observations. You talking about a bunch of champions. And we really don't know each other. David knows me a little bit, but he don't know me a whole lot. But one of the things that I had a reputation for was being candid and effectively and affirmatively dealing with personnel problems. I don't tell everybody that they're satisfactory professional adults. And whenever we had a problem, we did our very best to bring it closure and bring the full force that we had to bring it closure. Because it's simple. And so when I tell you that you have the teachers I'm seeing are outstanding. That fourth and fifth grade split classroom, for example, here. You know, the first thing people say is, ooh, I don't know about that. Split classroom. Maybe that is less than ideal because you can get abilities so diverse, it's hard to meet them. I went in there and I was just blown away. Just blown away. I guess I am maybe one person. I guess, okay.
Would that be your daughter too? Please do, you say your daughter.
I didn't know that. Oh, your daughter. Yeah, I was blown away. I was blown away. And, nobody's suffering there. They're getting as good as education as people get in Hollywood Elementary, Molly County, that's their high flyer, you know. They're getting a great education. So, you know. God bless you.
Thank you. Thank you.
I just want to encourage you.
Well, I'm encouraged hearing the good news from both schools, so. Thank you very much. Any questions or comments?
Here's all what?
I'm going back to the end of Mount Hood Road.
Be careful.
Mr. Campbell, will you unblock my door? Thank you.
And, if I don't see.
All right, the next item we're gonna cover is the new business item G. If you'd like to go ahead.
Thank you. Thanks for moving me up on the agenda. I appreciate it. Thank you, Steve.
That's our board president.
That's for safety travel.
Yeah, I live somewhat close.
He's 8 miles away.
So,
Seriously.
so my name's Brandon Kennedy. I'm the AFT rep, for Summers County. Just to give you a little background, I help in Wayne. I take care of Cabell, Logan, Wyoming, Raleigh, Summers, and last week was giving Nicholas and Webster's. I travel.
What do you do in the spare time?
I play golf. But, I played a little bit several times. I guess pipe stingers as well. But the reason I'm here tonight is about PEIA. But before I get there, what I would like to do is, first of all, in the summer, I'm like everyone else in southern West Virginia. I'm a part-time Summers County resident. I have a camp in Talcott with my in-laws. And I think this county probably doubles in population in this summer. Half of Wyoming County, I think, resides here in the summer. But the first thing is, it's really disheartening that you guys didn't get your levy passed. I don't know if the citizens are uneducated or just don't know how important a levy is to a school system. It's basically when you don't have a levy, you're teaching with two hands behind you. It's not fair that you're competing with all the other counties who have a levy. And I saw the meanness of this county personally. I put out 15 signs and came back 2 days later and all 15 were over the hill were taken. So it's tough that you guys have to deal with that. I saw the signs with the negative things about Mr. Warble, which are unfair. And I just want you guys to know that keep fighting. It'll eventually happen. And it's what's best for kids. It helps adults, but at the end of the day, the adults are here for kids or should. I work in counties that have a levy and don't have a levy, and the ones without are really struggling because the state doesn't give you enough. So I just want to put that out there. We tried to help you, but I think my message was out there less than 2 days, it was gone. And that's not a y'all's fault. I'm used to it. I've been doing this 17 years as an AFT. The next thing is I'm going to quickly go over what PEIA is proposing, if you don't mind. And I'll kind of do is that if I get down to elementary, please let me know and I'll speed up because I know your weather's bad and everybody wants to get home. This is an important issue. So what prompted this is a couple things. First, our last hearing is tonight actually in Charleston Cultural Center. The last BEI hearing, we had a big rally there. We had a big rally there. We'll just have tonight's door. But what's happened is the state law used to say, you know, the state pays at least 80% and employees pay at least 20%. And last year, the legislature passed a law that says the state pays 80, employees pay 20. And that sounds good, but that's actually terrible. What that did was, every time the state puts $1 in, employees have to put 20%. Because it's an 80-20 cost share, they have to match. If the law would have stayed as it was written, as at least 80%, at least 20, the state could put $1 in and the employees not match, if that makes sense. So our anger is, we are very angry at AFT, and I'm presenting tonight on behalf of WBEA as well. You may not be aware, but we're going to merge with WBEA if all goes well in a few months. But basically, the problem with PI is not the finance board. The finance board is kind of like the school board. You guys are given a pot of money by the state aid formula, and you try to make it work the best you can. Without a levy, you have to make cuts. And one of the cuts, obviously, you lost your, I don't know if his title was assistant, definitely personnel director. You know,
Oh, Mr.
Mr. Coon, you just, there's things that you have to cut. You have to cut. The number of kids you have is based on the state aid formula, how many teachers you can have. So those are those cuts. But anyways, long story short, what's going to happen if this PEA proposal goes as planned and the legislature doesn't bail us out? We're going to be in big trouble. And when I say we, I mean employees and retirees now. Retirees are a huge part of this PEA proposal. You guys already pay state minimum. So you're competing with all the counties around you who pay a little more. So it's even harder for Summers County to attract people. I'm from Richwood. We pay the state minimum in Nicholas County when I taught school. And I wanted to teach in Richwood because that's where I was from. And you probably get a lot of that here in Summers County, and that people are coming here and want to come back. Or it's such a beautiful county, people actually want to live here. It is a nice county to live. But it's hard to compete when A, you're not paying that much as other counties, and B, now your benefits are going. And there's nothing you can do except for call your legislators. It's the only way we can fix this is through legislation. But there are some employees that are going to lose hundreds and hundreds of dollars a month with this PEI proposal. So what we're doing is going across the state and asking every school board to sign our resolution. And it just so happened tonight I hear Summers County and WBEA hit Raleigh County the last meeting, so we're dividing and conquering. And if you would like me to, I can read this resolution to you, or I can just take a couple seconds to be quiet, let you read it. Mr. Engel, you're the boss, whatever you want me to. I was an old math and science teacher reading and all like that. WVU gave me 2 degrees, I guess I did.
I think we can read through it here
I'll
real
give you
quick.
a couple minutes.
Okay.
I'll give it one to look at.
Unless for the sake of transparency.
Yeah,
I think for the sake of transparency.
we could do that.
Since it's being broadcast.
Yes,
please.
yes, if you'd like. Thank you, Ms. Ford.
Where it says county, but some.
Yeah. I can do that. And everyone listening, I apologize, I'm not the best reader. So whereas the Public Employees Insurance Agency, which is PEIA, provides vital health care benefits to public employees in West Virginia, including teachers, school staff, and administrators who serve in public schools throughout the state. And whereas a well-funded and sustainable PEIA is essential for attracting and retaining qualified educators and school personnel, ensuring that West Virginia's children receive the highest quality education possible. And whereas the recent financial instability of PEIA has led to increasing costs for public employees, diminishing their take-home pay and placing an undue burden on those who are critical to functioning of our educational system. And whereas the state of West Virginia has a responsibility to adequately support the public education system, which includes ensuring affordable and reliable health care benefits for all public school employees. And whereas the failure to stabilize PEIA threatens not only the well-being of public employees, but also the effectiveness and stability of public education in West Virginia. And whereas the County Board of Education believes that this is in the best interest of our students, employees, and communities that the state government take immediate action and stabilize PEIA to prevent further cost increases and reductions in benefits. Now therefore be it resolved that the Summers County Board of Education hereby urges the West Virginia Legislature and the governor to stabilize public employees insurance agency, ensuring the program remains sustainable, affordable, and equitable for all employees. Be it further resolved that the Summers County Board of Education calls upon other county boards of education, state agencies, and public entities to join in supporting this resolution and advocating for the stabilization of PEI. Be it finally resolved that a copy of this resolution shall be sent to the governor of West Virginia, the president of the West Virginia State Senate, the speaker of the West Virginia House of Delegates, the local legislative representatives to emphasize the importance of immediate actions to stabilize PEIA for West Virginia public employees and educators. Ms. Oracle had the suggestion that since only 3 are here tonight, if we do pass it tonight, not give it back until all 5 are able to sign. I'll take it. Our goal is to present 55 of these to the legislature in January. And a fun fact, I'm kind of a history geek. We're going to have 4 governors in January. I don't know if you know that. So Jim Justice is governor. We'll take a Senate seat before we swear in our governor, so he leaves. The problem then becomes is our Senate president, Craig Blair, was unelected. So he'll be governor until they're sworn in. We have to get a new Senate president until our new governor, Patrick Miller, is sworn. So we'll have 4 governors within a week. I don't think that's ever happened. But anyways, that's a fun history.
Interesting.
But well, that's what we would like to do if you guys are obliged to sign a resolution that sets on behalf of AFTP, WBEN. We're just one different antics and it's like Summers County since I live in Shakespeare. But if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. What we're trying to do is get all of our members to basically participate, non-members, to allow everybody to sign our petition, try and get tens of thousands of signatures. We call our legislators for interim meetings, which are December 18 to 12. The last hearings tonight, so hearings are, had one, Beckley, a weeks ago, we had over 100 people here for that hearing. So it was good hearing. The only thing that was disheartening was Chris Tony was the only legislator who showed up that night. And the only people who could fix this are the legislature and the PEI. That's why I'm here, and I'll entertain questions, or I hope you would sign the resolution.
That's something we have to make a motion on.
I think you would have.
Well,
we
I
should,
put it
yeah.
down for discussion, possible action tonight as
Yeah.
one of the items in new business, yes.
I would make a motion that, as a board, we sign a resolution urging the state of West Virginia to stabilize the public employees insurance agency.
I'll second. So we have a motion by Mrs. Farley, seconded by myself. And I'm gonna try to do this, that we approve the resolution urging the state of West Virginia to stabilize the public employee insurance agency. Any questions? I do have one.
Yes.
And so when we're talking about stabilizing, and this is way out of my realm, so that's why I'm asking, is there like a goal of
That's a great,
what needs to be, is this what this is the proposed changes, but what's the goal? What are we trying to
that's a
achieve?
great question. So what we've been pushing, I think since I've been at AFT, this is like, say, this is my 17th year being a staff rep. There's never been a dedicated revenue source. Like, for instance, lottery funds, public education, higher education, seniors, veterans, et cetera. There's no dedicated stream of funding that goes directly to PEI. So what the legislature does every year is to say, hey, this year we're going to give you this much money.
Okay.
And what we want to see, and what I think our members and boards like you would like to see is, hey, we know our state produces money at X. Let's send money directly to PEI to stabilize it. It's a little frustrating and disheartening to see I'm sure you see it too, every month they say, we have a $200 million surplus this month.
Right.
$1 million surplus. And we're like, if we're not properly funding DHHR with childcare, foster children, we're dead last in pay and service personnel teachers in the state. We don't have PEIA fixed. How do we have surplus? That's what we're saying, you know. Sounds good at a sound bite.
Yeah.
But that's what we're hoping for is, whatever they choose to do, and that's way above my pay grade, but have a direct funding source.
Okay. All right, thank you. Any other questions? All right, so we have a motion by Mrs. Farley, seconded by myself. That we approve the resolution urging the state of West Virginia to stabilize the Public Employee Insurance Agency. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, abstaining. Let the minutes reflect by a 3-0 vote that we have approved the resolution urging the state of West Virginia to stabilize the Public Employee Insurance Agency.
Thank you very much. I'll get
Thank you.
this form, I'll get the actual form and numbers.
Yeah, because what we'll do is we'll start with Mr. Angel. He has the one that says Summers County throughout his.
Yep.
And then we have 3 board members tonight. What I'll do is when I get the other 2, if I scan it and send it to you, is that appropriate? Okay.
Or I can run down.
Well, I can force you to run down here, can't I?
In fact, my brother's now resident of Sumter County, he's got 100
Oh,
acres.
yeah, let's use that one. I like that one even better.
So thank you guys. Thank you. sir.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
And good luck, it definitely needed.
Thank you. See you.
Sign that. All right, item 5, presentations.
That was it.
That was the only one?
That was it.
Okay. Item 6, public comment.
There are none.
None. Item 7, approval of minutes. So let's go with one at a time here. We have November 1st, 2024 work session.
I don't think that's gonna work.
Well, we've talked a little about that, and I believe we just need a majority of the members present.
Okay.
Now, you all can correct me if I'm wrong. So if we have a majority of members present that vote,
Okay.
I don't know.
That's the way it was.
That's correct.
So
I
we have a
promise it's
majority
correct.
vote. Okay, so let's go with November 1st, 2024 work session. I'm going to make a motion that we approve the November 1st, 2024 work session minutes.
Have a second, please.
And according to Robert's Rules of Order, we can move forward with a motion without a second in a small meeting.
So we're good to go.
So we're good to go. So I have made a motion. And so all in favor of approving the November 1st, 2024 work session meeting minutes, please say aye. Aye.
But I wasn't there.
Opposed? Abstaining.
Aye.
Okay, so let the minutes reflect that the November 1st, 2024 work session minutes have been approved by a 1-0 vote with Mr. Brogan and Mrs. Farley abstaining.
Gotcha.
Okay. Now we have before us, that took us 2 meetings, but we figured it out.
We learned a lot of history tonight.
We have. So item 7, November 12th, 2024, regular meeting minutes. We have those before us.
I'll make a motion that we approve the November 12th regular meeting minutes.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Brogan, seconded by Mrs. Farley, that we approve the November 12th regular meeting minutes. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? Let the minutes reflect by a 3-0 vote that the November 12th, 2024 regular meeting minutes have been approved. All right.
We learned in our recent meeting that I will be recusing myself because I have a conflict of interest in business with R.T. Rogers. That must be reflected in the minutes.
Oh, we're there already, aren't we? Gotcha.
Learned a lot.
Yeah.
Last week or
It
two.
does reflected in the minutes what his reason for recusing himself is.
I have doing business with.
Mr. Brown will be proud if he watches this.
Yes.
Phil Hoopy?
Mr. Brown, Jim Brown.
Yes.
Oh. I'll even call him tonight if you want me to.
So we have before us right now the R.T. Rogers bill.
I'll make a motion that we pay R.T. Rogers.
I'll second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, abstaining. Let the minutes reflect by a 2-0 vote with Mr. Brogan recusing himself due to the fact that he does business with R.T. Rogers. That bill has been approved for payment. All right, we have before us the remainder of the bills.
I'll make a motion, we pay the rest of the bills.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Mr. Brogan, seconded by Mrs. Farley, that we pay the remainder of the bills. Is there any discussion related to the bills? Okay, all in favor, please say aye. Opposed, abstaining. Let the minutes reflect by a 3-0 vote that the remaining bills have been approved for payment. Item 9, new business, purchases over 25,000. None. Okay, item B, under new business, discussion or possible action to approve out-of-state overnight employee trip.
You may explain what this is real quick?
Yeah, if you would,
CPI
please.
training.
Mhm.
I have Dr. Knott here to correct me if I say anything out of turn, but Marty Mann and Anthony Dennison, deal with the special ed population. And it's not just special ed, it's all general ed too. But I'm saying these two, that's their specialty. But if I'm a general ed teacher and I had to restrain a student, and this is now general ed, I'm in a general ed classroom, I have 30 days to get that training. If I did not get trained, and we need these people to train our people in our county. If we do not have anybody to train them, then we gotta go outside the county, and that is not an easy task, especially if you don't have someone that did the training when they first came in due to the fact we have a lot of new people. Every August, we do this training. Usually it's in the gymnasium. Marty does that about every year. If not, we always lean on Marty. Am I missing anybody else that's been done the training for us?
Mr. Franklin was a.
Oh, Leon did,
trainer, but he's not.
He's not certified.
He doesn't want to be certified.
Yeah. So you have to be a research it's kind of like CPR, where instead of dealing with someone who's life-threatening, with bringing them back to life, it might be life-threatening to restrain someone from going after someone else. And these two people that are going to do a marvelous job with this, and we'll have them come back to train anybody that needs the training.
I'll make a motion that we approve the, out-of-state training for Marty Mann and Anthony Dennison.
I'll second.
Motion by Mrs. Farley, seconded by Mr. Brogan to approve for Marty Mann and Anthony Dennison, the out-of-state overnight training. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstaining. Let the minutes reflect by a 3-0 vote that the out-of-state training for Marty Mann and Anthony Dennison has been approved. Item C, discussion regarding CTE roof renovation bids.
I have a hard copy for you with it inside this packet here. You can see that we had 5 people that did come in and bid the day of our ribbon cutting ceremony. We had Tri-State Murray, Mecklenburg, and AAR Roofing. Even though AAR Roofing did have the lowest bid for just doing the roof job, there was 2 addendums. The second number is for guttering, and the third one is the ladder system. When you're on top of the ladder, right now, our maintenance guys carry a ladder up there with a step ladder to get to and from. And so what we were afraid of was, do we have enough money with all the prices that have risen by 40%? Remember when we first started the middle school edition, we thought it was going to be 8.2 million, then it jumped up to about 12 million. So in this case, we just weren't sure. So that's why we had addendum 1 and addendum 2, and that's why you have 3 separate numbers. I know it might be confusing, and that's not to confuse, it was just the way to bid it out, because we weren't sure if we could afford all 3. Well, if you look at it, Tri-State, all 3 of their bids come in at the lowest at $608,273. Now, we don't have to do anything but discuss tonight because this still has to be vetted through the McKinley architect and SBA to make sure everything is above board, because that's what you do when you have these companies work with you on such a big project. So basically you can see the bids. I try to give you guys a little help with how much we contribute to this project. We contribute about 7%. The SBA is contributing 93%. And after seeing what happened Monday and Tuesday of all the money people are going for, I'm glad we already have a piece of the apple, because it would be hard to get money from the school building authority now with these big school systems consolidating, asking for a lot of money. So at this point in time, the SBA is going to be contributing $684,896 to this project. We put skin in the game and say we would like to put $50,000 towards it. But if the project doesn't come in that high, then you do the percent. And that's where we're at, about 7%. I hope I put this down so you guys can kind of see my thoughts. And then I double checked with Kayla, and she said, as long as you round up, I agree with you. Well, conservative estimates.
Did you get my message that I sent you to see if you could find out what the differences is in the gutter, the second?
The only thing I know this time.
I mean, literally, there's over a $200,000 discrepancy on gutter. There's got to be some difference.
Well, from what I talked with Mark Miller, and I'm not 100%, he's not either. Tri-State has a better grip on products. So they have access to products on hand much quicker. The turnaround for them, they can get to it with their way of dealing with their business. Some of these roofing projects can take longer if you don't have good networking or connections when you buy in bulk, when they do all these projects. So the only thing I can say is I'm waiting to get a answer for you in writing more than anything, because I don't want to mislead or misspeak, Mr. Brogan. So to answer your question, I don't have it, and that's why I'm glad we're just having a discussion without anybody to approve tonight, because I wouldn't want you to feel like you had to do this right away.
So you're saying if we don't take action tonight, it's not going to hold the project up?
You can
It's
anyway, that's the
discussion.
way I put it down on the agenda. We couldn't have had that turnaround because the SBA and the architect firm will go through the vetting process, so,
Yeah, I'd love to get a hard copy of
yeah.
what Murray's selling for $299 versus Tri-State 72.
Well, I will throw this out at you, and I don't know if this is true, but some people throw out a big number because they might not want to do the job, and if you want the job, then they can make a lot of money too. But I don't know, I'm not saying that's what they're doing, I don't want to get into that, because we have enjoyed working with Murray because they are the ones who did the middle school addition roofing project. So I enjoyed working with Murray, didn't have problems now. But I just wanted to be transparent so you could see what they actually did, and Miss Kincaid didn't get to go to the ribbon cut, and she stayed back and worked with Christian, and she got to walk all the way through this. And these were the numbers that were presented, and do you have any specifics on that day? I don't know if you want to answer any, but you had fun that day with them too.
Pretty straightforward thing.
You what?
It was pretty straightforward. I just went this basically with those.
Any other questions or comments on that?
Becoming the bid guru.
All right, we'll move on to item D. This is discussion or possible action to place policy out for public comment. This is Roman numeral 4-G-1, substitutes in areas of critical need and shortage. This is just for a yearly update.
We'll be doing this again next year too, so it's a yearly thing.
Did Trey put the changes at the end?
That was all done by, yeah.
Okay, all right, it's here on the front. Yes. Change that for the dates. So really just date changes
Pretty
more
much.
than anything?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll make a motion that we put this policy 4-G-1, substitutes in area of critical need and shortage, out for public comment. Motion by myself, seconded by Mrs. Farley. We put policy 4-G-1, substitutes in areas of critical need and shortage, out for public comment. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstaining. Let the minutes reflect by a 3-0 vote that policy 4-G-1, substitutes in area of critical need and shortage, has been approved to be placed out for public comment. Item E, discussion or possible action to approve chaperones for trip. This is Hinton area, 4th and 5th grade trip, Erica McBride, Candace Fox, and Cassia Gill.
I make a motion that we approve the chaperones for the Hinton Area Elementary 4th and 5th grade trip.
I'll second.
Motion by Mrs. Farley, seconded by Mr. Brogan to approve the chaperones for the Hinton area 4th and 5th grade trip. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstaining. Let the minutes reflect by a 3-0 vote that the chaperones for the Hinton area elementary 4th and 5th grade trip have been approved. Item F, discussion or possible action to accept the bid for Safe and Sound. This is separation of fire alarm systems between SCS central office and the former middle school building.
Mr. Metter went ahead and bid it out because we weren't sure on the price. The lowest was Safe and Sound, and they can get it done in a turnaround fashion just because they're local, so it's quicker for them to get on it. The other thing is since we have gifted to the Three Rivers Foundation, and they seem like they want it January 1 or January 2, whatever Monday is. We probably won't get it completely done, but they know that we're working on that. And, it's kind of interesting. You'd think it'd be a simple process, but anytime you do a fire alarm system, it's not as simple as you think. But anyway, we did get 3 bids and they were the lowest.
I'll make a motion. Use yourself. Yeah, I actually do have to recuse myself from
I was gonna
that.
say, wait a minute.
I'll make a motion that we approve, the.
Wait.
Hold on, let me, he has to make a statement.
Okay.
Kenny's gonna make a
I
statement.
have to recuse myself again because that's a conflict of interest for business reasons.
What's the second?
It's all me.
Yes.
You were just trying to expedite things.
I'll make a motion that we approve Safe and Sound for the separation of fire alarm system between the central office and former middle school building.
I'll second. So motion by Mrs. Farley, seconded by myself to approve Safe and Sound for the separation of the fire alarm system between Summers County Central Office and the former middle school building. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, abstaining. Let the minutes reflect by a 2-0 vote. Safe and Sound has been approved for separation of the fire alarm system between SCS Central Office and the former middle school building, with Mr. Brogan recusing himself. All right, item 10, personnel. We have no resignations or retirements at this time. We have a leave of absence, employment service. We have no employment professional.
Sorry.
Oh, we should?
I'm wondering if it's, yeah, I think Susan Clay should be resignation, not leave that. Sorry about that. There is no leave. I think what it did is it got pushed to the next page.
Oh,
Sorry about that, Mr. Angel.
so we're gonna, Susan Clay will be under resignation.
Yeah, there's no leave of absence, however you want to do that.
Okay.
I'll get it cleaned up on mine.
Okay, so we have Susan Clay under resignation. We have no leave of absence.
Correct.
All right, and then we have employment service, no employment professional, extra duty, extracurricular coaches and volunteers, employment substitute professional, and then we have no substitute service.
Just to let you guys know, you're gonna see a lot of domino effects with the bus garage, so every month is pretty much gonna be a bus opening because of people bidding on different bus routes. So it might take till springtime to get done.
I'll make a motion under West Virginia Code 6-98-4 personnel that we go into executive session. The time is 7:08.
I'll second.
Motion by myself, seconded by Mr. Brogan. According to West Virginia Code 6-98-4 personnel, we go into executive session. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstaining?
As are your property.
Oh, okay.
You can hear that she used to.
They would have.
They find out later.
Mhm.
Because it's their meeting, she used to have, it's not- I'm like, "Ooh, I'm not saying."
Hey, I just let him know if you start hitting, then he needs to file a Title IX.
Okay, we used to.
Because you're a board member, and he's an employee. Is that how that works?
Not if we're at home, we're not.
Oh,
It's not for me, it's a good cause. If she,
I think we used to give them to Ronald McDonald.
okay, if that's what's happening, we're good.
We're on the same team.
Because I had to stay in Ronald McDonald, I know it was.
Same team.
Yeah. But I'll find out.
All
You
right.
guys are speaking the same language.
Yes.
So the time is, let me get my phone back out. 7:32, we'll call this regular meeting back to session. Executive session adjourned at 7:30 PM. So we have before us the superintendent's recommendation for personnel.
I'll make a motion that we accept the superintendent's recommendations for personnel.
I'll second.
Have a motion by Mr. Brogan, seconded by Mrs. Farley to accept the superintendent's recommendations for personnel. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, abstaining. Let the minutes reflect by a 3-0 vote that the superintendent's recommendation for personnel has been approved. Item 11, discussion of next agenda. The next regular meeting will be at the Summers County Comprehensive High School on December 10th, 2024, beginning at 6 PM. Any agenda items you want to think of? Okay, as always, if you do, reach out to Mr. Warble or myself and we can get those added to the agenda. Item 12, point of privilege. Ms. Farley, we'll start with you.
Okay. Well, we know the Thanksgiving season's here, and I know everybody's excited to spend time with friends and family. I would encourage you to reach out to maybe some friends or family, maybe neighbors nearby that are by themselves. Perhaps they lost someone this year, maybe a husband or a wife, maybe they're elderly and might be spending the holiday alone. I would encourage you to reach out and invite them to share your meal on Thanksgiving. They might not receive an invitation otherwise, and, you know, the holidays are a depressing time sometimes, so I would just encourage that, and I hope that you guys have a wonderful Thanksgiving. We're so thankful for all of you.
Thank you. Mr. Brogan?
I've already spoken to one or two, maybe both of you guys about what I'm about to say, and probably my point of privilege won't be heard by who I'm speaking of, but I just want to send my point of privilege out to all students. Our last meeting, and like I said, I told the guys here that honestly, I didn't want to be there. I mean, it was early on in the situation that we're dealing with, a pretty serious issue, and we'd all been beat down by all the calls and what have you, and I just didn't want to be at the meeting, just to be perfectly honest. But as we celebrated all the different groups of students through that meeting, it just completely turned me around. And not just those 3 groups that we celebrated, but all students that just keep doing you. The students just really, and I told my wife, she was the one having to hear me moan and groan before I left, that I didn't want to go. But then I had to admit when I came back, that's why we do it. That's why we do what we do for the kids, and I appreciate all of it.
I'm just going to piggyback off of what Mr. Brogan said at the middle school dedication ceremony. The middle school kids were just so excited for that ribbon cutting. I'm just thankful that they have their own spot now. The gym was phenomenal, and it was so good to see those kids get involved with the ribbon cutting and the activities surrounding that, and hats off to the two leaders there, Jacob Smith and Joe Depew. You know, they have been leaders for as long as I've known those guys. They always have a smile on their face, and they really got the middle school kids into the festivities. And as I told them when I was talking there, of course, one individual told my wife when I got behind the podium, they were afraid I was going to talk for a long time because I stood behind the podium. But I'm old and forgetful, so I had to have my notes laying on the podium. But when I told the kids, you know, everything we do is for you, and we mean that. Every decision we make, every minute we spend doing things for the board, in our minds, we're thinking about the students and we're thinking about the staff. So I enjoyed that last meeting with the other students presenting to us. I look forward to having more presentations, and maybe we can have a board meeting in the new gym.
That's a lot of games going on.
So, in the future, maybe we can find a free time and have a board meeting in that new gym. But the facilities is really nice. I was a little cautious when we first saw the blueprints, but I was able to go down one day, watch the flow of the students through the school between classes. Looks like they've adjusted really well, and kids are resilient, so that's good to see down there. That's all I have. Mr. McBride is not here, so Mr. Brogan, I'm going to let you have item 13.
The time is 7:37. I move that we adjourn.
Motion by Mr. Brogan, seconded by Mrs. Farley, that we adjourn. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstaining. Let the minutes reflect by a 3-0 vote that we are now adjourned.
7:37.
7:37. Thank you.
I'm so excited. I sent a message to Mel, see if she